Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's belt on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing today? Hopefully you're doing quite lovely. Hopefully better than I am frying out here in Texas. Just absolutely horrid weather that we have had for... My God, it has probably been 4 weeks straight of, if not 100, 98, 99, maybe 3 of those days. And then the rest has been triple digits. And a few days ago, we reached 108. There's nothing you can do in 108 degree weather. Nothing. Gardening. You can garden at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's about it. It's, before the sun starts popping up, it is just horrible. Anyway, enough about me. Hopefully you're doing well. If you're not, hopefully this will cheer you up. I've got a really long episode here for you. This is the very last interview, as I promised. The very last interview from Brick World Chicago. This interview is with Kate. We all know Kate. Kate is known as BrickHuntress in the community, but I had a blast talking to her. She's one of my best friends in the community, one of my best friends in life in general, and just a great opportunity to chat with her again. And if you listen, make sure you listen the whole way through, obviously. But, hearing the things that she does in the community that if you don't know who she is, what she does and how she showcases, builders and just creating these challenges and stuff for people to do, to come together and share their passion. It doesn't even have to be, you don't have to be the biggest mosaic maker or some grandiose mock. It could be something simple. And there's always a challenge that she does every single month. And there's prizes that are awarded with it. I believe the last one that she did last month was awarded through Whatnot, or maybe it's this month. I'm not sure. But make sure you check it out. And like I said, you don't have to be a giant mock builder. You could be somebody super tiny. And, if you looked at, or if you listened to the interview with Tanner, one of the first ones that we released from Brick World Chicago, that was an opportunity right there where he, just took something and ran with it, and it just blew up. It was really, really, really cool. So hopefully you'll enjoy this one. I know you will. So let's go ahead. All right, ladies and gents of Lego fandom, our next interview on the docket brings us back to the mosaic theme, which it seems like it's been a while. I'm here with Kate, a.k.a. BrickHuntress, and people call you Kate, some people call you BrickHuntress. Most people call you Kate.
True.
But it's been a while since we've talked. We did... about a year ago, we did a mental health. I can't remember specifics. And then before that, the last time we chatted on here was Nebraska Brick Days. I think it was 20... It
was like 3 years ago.
Was it 2020? It was before COVID, I believe, right?
It was right after COVID. It was like the first show right after they started letting people go do stuff.
Okay.
And it was like questionable if we should have been doing that or not.
Should we or should we not be here? That's right. You're right. I remember because they canceled it the year before. Okay. I couldn't remember. I didn't think it was 2019. Kate, thank you for coming and joining me and everyone again.
You're welcome. There are so many people in here.
There are so many people.
It's very distracting.
Bricker Builds, those of you that are not in attendance in this show or were not here at the time, Bricker Builds is getting set to reveal a new statue or whatever figure or whatever it is. Anyway, so you have a ton of mosaic stuff, some of which I was privy enough to see insider detail. So special.
Kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. You are kind of a big deal. You're right. Very much so. You have a bunch of things over there. There's music going. There's lights going. What did you bring to the show?
I brought 5 pieces, 2 Liechtenstein girls, one called Hopeful and one called It's Never Goodbye. And then I brought Darth Maul, which I call the Apprentice. And this will be his last show that I show him at. And my 4th is one of my newer pieces called Women Inherits the Earth, which is, sorry, the best name ever. A Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus Rex build.
It's incredible. Not just because I'm a Jurassic Giant fan.
We're all Jurassic nerds. It's okay.
We are. But my God, it is unbelievably well done. And so I'm totally going to fangirl out right here. There's mosaics, and then there's mosaics. And the mosaics that you brought, especially the Darth Maul, your Jurassic, the greebling, all of the texture that goes in is wild. Not to mention the lights that you have. And I got to hear the trick to that, because I know there's people that want to know. Why the Jurassic?
Why Jurassic?
Why Jurassic? Why Woman Inherits the Earth? Not why did you use that, but why build that one?
Jurassic Park is probably one of my favorite all-time, movies, themes, what have you, besides Lord of the Rings. So it was an easy choice to choose to do that. And I did a Raptor 2 years ago, and now I'm doing the Rex, and then another year or 2 from now I'll do another one. So every year or 2 I'll do a new dinosaur.
So there's more than the T-Rex. There's a whole lot in the background. What is the focal point of the background?
It is the depiction of the T-Rex from the Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, where the volcano erupts and the T-Rex roars gigantically, and everything starts exploding and the volcano just goes crazy. So
all the stuff that blows out the top and runs down the mountain and stuff like that. But it's lit.
Yes.
So I know how you went about lighting it, because insider information, because I'm a big deal. That was a joke, inside joke there.
No, clearly, though.
How did you go about lighting to get the ambiance of the lava, I guess it's lava, of the volcano?
I use Ashland brand. They're simple little tea lights from Michael's craft store. So Michael's store, they have a whole aisle of them, usually all different colors. You can do multicolor. And then you buy the little remote that you can set the timer on it. You can set the speed, the frequency, the lighting, all of it. And I have the candle adapter one, and that's what makes the effect that you see. It's a candle effect. So it's like fire.
Okay. And obviously it's not built into Lego. You had to modify it. How did you modify it? Because your mosaics aren't like on a 32 by 32. They're like 16 feet by 12 feet.
The Rex is 200 by 200 stud, so it's a perfect square. I use strictly bricks base plates, so they are off-brand Lego, but I find them to be better.
Sturdier,
better grip, for sure. But they come in transparent colors, so they have clear and orange and red and blue and green and pink. So you can build on top of the transparent background, and then you run the lights underneath.
So you run your lights underneath. Your trans colors that you have on there, that's your lights are just white on the backside, right?
Correct, yeah.
But it's just bleeding through the bricks that you're using.
Yeah.
So you have that, and I love that. I would take that home and find. I don't have a wall for it. I could put it in my studio. I could do it somewhere. Anyway, you have some other stuff here, and
I have a new reveal here.
You do have a new reveal here. Let's get to the new reveal. I totally forgot. I'm sorry.
So the new reveal as of this Thursday when I set him up is my new Darth Vader, which is half Anakin, half Darth Vader. It's the depiction of him in episode 3 where he becomes Darth Vader. So it's the Battle of the Fates with Obi-Wan.
I didn't know that was called Battle of the Fates. I'm impressed that you know that.
Right?
Star Wars
I'm
people,
kind
I know.
of impressed with
You're
myself
kind of
right now.
That's pretty good. I love that thing. How big is that?
It's my largest mosaic I've ever made. It's it's almost 400 stud by almost 300 stud, roughly.
So, wow. That's easily twice the width or height, whatever the other one is. Because
Yeah.
you said 200 of the T-Rex. Where, I mean, you're a Jurassic fan, but where did the idea for that come from?
I love the idea of him becoming something else. The scarring on him is also kind of important because it just shows that we all have scars, we all have things that we like to hide about ourselves, and sometimes we become better versions of ourselves, and then sometimes we don't.
Sometimes
You know?
it goes both ways. Yes.
But,
Absolutely.
with Darth, he has the shiny helmet. He becomes something completely different out of the ashes of the fire and out of the scarring. He hides it away and becomes something completely different, whether that's good or bad.
Whether that's good or bad, that's up to you to decide. So, like I was saying, your mosaics aren't just mosaics. They're not studs or plates or tiles that are just laid down. There's a lot of depth to them, a lot of texture. There's a lot of unique pieces. I'm pretty sure, I think you said you have like hidden pieces. Yes. Okay. So how do you, I know some people, they do a program and they're like, this is going to go here, this is going to go here, or a spreadsheet or whatever. How do you go about the point of getting the greebling done? I mean, is this just by eye, this by feel? Where's this coming from?
A little bit of both. I'm super visual, so I have to look at it as I'm going. I have to take a step back after I work on it each night and really dive into the places that I want to change or add on to or change the piece. I do use a program, the BrickLink Studio Maker for mosaics now, and there's some kinks to it, so I don't like to use it all the time or use it for the full experience, but I use it to set the dimensions and make sure everything's proportional, and then so I do like an outline of whatever I'm making, like the T-Rex or something. And then I close the computer and go after that because I get frustrated going individually on the computer. I just can't, my eyes can't do that.
Yeah, I couldn't do that either. There's no way.
And then I change and flow. Sometimes I have an idea of the pieces I want to use, and then sometimes I don't, and sometimes I change them. And then sometimes I know exactly what I want to use, so it's a little bit different. Like with the girl with her hair, I knew exactly that I wanted to use the old classic castle flags.
Okay.
As her wavy hair.
Which is awesome. All right. So going all that kind of stuff. When you walk down that road and you're like, I want to do this, like you said, you take a step back, you've done it each night, come back the next day. I mean, is there a moment where you come back the next day and you kind of go like, crap, I don't like that. I'm going to rip off everything that I did for the last 2 hours. Okay.
That happened a couple times with the Vader, actually. I was like, nope, don't like that. Let's try this again. And the biggest part was his helmet, because I really didn't want to, honestly, I didn't want to purchase like a million tiles.
Yeah.
It would have been, for me, it would have been too shiny, too smooth. So I alternated the spaces in which I used the tiles to create like a combination of his scarring and then his helmet to make it blend a little bit better. So that was intentional for sure, but
Awesome.
that was the hard part, to figure out where the tiles were going to go, because I only ordered a certain amount. And I was like, nope, not ordering anymore.
So when you order pieces, because like I said about the greebling and stuff like that, to give it depth and texture and everything, it's not like you're using the telephones. You're not using a bunch of telephones to get a certain idea. There's a bunch of different pieces. I'm sure you have an idea of how many different types of pieces you have, but how do you go about like, all right, I've got these certain types of pieces. Maybe you have 10 of each of those. is it one of those things like, okay, I don't have any more. I really want to use more of these, or I want to use something else here. Is it like, all right, put it on hold, Bricklink order, and then, I mean, how does that work?
A little bit of both. Like, if I have the piece, then I'll keep going and then just order the same piece if I really, really like it or I really enjoy how it looks. If I run out of a certain piece and know that I want to continue it, I'll move on to a completely separate part of the build. Usually it's completely separate, completely different piece. Like I'll go to the fire section, or I'll go to the scarring section, or the foliage section for the T-Rex, because I usually build 2 builds at a time. So I have 2 builds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's never a stopping moment. There's always something being built.
Typically.
Okay.
There's always something going on in my brain. Like I've already thought of like 3 different builds I want to do after.
So you go to sleep at night and you're like, I'm like subconsciously thinking, okay, I need to do this. I need to adjust this every day. Okay. So those are your new reveal, and then your T-Rex. You do have others. Your Darth is awesome. The color, I think
the color.
I think the color is what really makes it stand out completely different, because it's not just like dark and red or black and red. So why color it the way you did?
To push the envelope, Matt. No, because his character is so dynamic and diverse, and he has definitely a light side to him. And so I wanted to focus more on that and the controversy behind that. So I focus more on using white. There's some black, but there's not a lot of black. And there's actually not a lot of red in him either.
No.
I use more of the color spectrum per se, so to highlight his light side.
Very, very cool.
And it's been an interesting, I've shown it 3 times now. And over the last 3 shows, it's been a really interesting process of asking people what they think. And usually it's like, well, why isn't he black and red? Like they automatically go to that question.
Yeah.
And then when I say it, they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Or they'll be like, well, I'd prefer it black and red. And you're like, that's fair. That's fine.
I get it, but what you're getting is not black and red. And here's why. Do people... I mean, how is it kind of received? Like, I know some people are like, I would rather have it black and red. Do you have that conversation with some people and they're like, oh, I totally get that? Or is it just kind of like over the head and they're standing there looking at you like, why isn't it still black and red?
No, it's more the first one.
Okay.
It's like, they're like, wow, oh my gosh, I love the color choice, and I get why you did that. That's awesome.
Interesting. So some people can see it. They understand it. And
yeah. I would say 70% see it and understand it, and then 30.
Why is it black and red?
Yeah, why isn't it black and red? Or they think it's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, yes.
They're like, oh, is it Obi-Wan? And I was like, no, it's Mom. That's fine.
Can you not see what's going on here?
And then they see it after I say it, and they're like, oh, yeah. And that one is so much different than my other pieces, too. It's a little bit more abstract, so I can see why they ask a lot more about that one. If you are a lost child, please come to the front. If you are not currently with your parents.
Nobody's going to hear that.
No.
Okay, I think he's done. I'm not lost. I'm a lost parent. I'm not a lost parent.
Something different about Darth Vader, though, is that he's the first one where you really actually have to step back to see him. If you're too close, you don't see him right away.
When you had mentioned to me, like, where there's a very good viewing, like, feet, many feet away versus staring straight at it, that you're not able to quite see it. Because, like you said, it's not tiny.
If you break out your phone, it will automatically pop the picture in for you. It's really cool.
Really? I'm going to have to try that later after I read this. So you've got 3, and then help me remember your girl that you have.
One is called Hopeful.
Hopeful.
And the other is called It's Never Goodbye.
It's Never Goodbye. Okay, so those are strong pieces. What's the story behind them?
They're both Liechtenstein pieces, pop art pieces. I was an art history major. He was my favorite artist, still is. I did my senior thesis on him. We had to create like at least 10 works of art of his in our own style. So I painted most of them. So these are my now Lego recreations of the ones that I did before. I love his style. I love the simplicity of like the primary colors. I love the pop art, like comic book feel to them, pop off the page, grab you automatic. Like my initial like want is for everybody to feel something when they look at those two. Those 2 pieces.
So, I mean, it works.
Thank you. I hope so. And I always ask, so the Hopeful one, the original Liechtenstein is called Hopeless. And so a lot of the girls have thought bubbles, just like the original paintings do. But in the Liechtensteins, he always fills the thought bubbles, right, with whatever it's called, typically.
Yeah.
And then for me, I leave them blank because I want the viewer to fill in their own thought of what they're saying.
Interesting.
And it's
that makes sense.
I
would have never known that. Had you not told me that, I would not have known.
It's usually a 50-50 split, too. Most of them are crying because his are crying. But I called mine Hopeful instead of Hopeless. But I still ask if they think it's a happy cry or a sad cry. And it's 50-50 from the viewer. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, you've got a lot of like psychological pieces over there. Mm-hmm. It's got to be an intentional thing. You want people to think?
I want people to think. I want people to feel. I want them to connect to it in some way, regardless if it's a pop art piece or not. Sorry, a stormtrooper just
Oh my God.
walked by.
We've got a stormtrooper with like some kind of orc. Something
Sorry, I
that
got
just walked by. That is weird. No, you're way out. We're way out of left field now.
Oh, man.
Later the day gets in Brick World Chicago, the weirder it gets.
Yeah, that was worth it though. No, I want people to feel something and connect to it in whatever way they connect to it. You know, whether it's the Darth Vader or the Rex, like a childhood memory. Like for me, I can still remember going to see Jurassic Park for the first time in the theater. I was in 5th grade. The kitchen scene scared the crap out of me. I had nightmares for like 2 weeks.
For years.
And now I just love it. So, you know, you connect automatically to something like that when you have an experience that goes with something visual that you're looking at.
Terror.
Sure.
I'm scared of this raptor. That's why I did a raptor piece
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah.
So, which you said one of them is about to be retired. Your T-Rex.
Mall.
Maul. So what do
And
you
the
do?
girl probably as
Okay.
well.
What do you do with them after? Do you just tear them apart? Do you auction them off? Do you throw it in the trash? Obviously, you're not throwing it in the trash, but
I've only dismantled one piece so far. And that is Stranger Things. So after Brick Rodeo last year, Tim, TK Bricks, and I destroyed all the teeth, which was a really horrifying experience for me. Oh my God, it was so uncomfortable. Like, it was awful. He handed me a piece, like a tooth, and just said, drop it. And I was like, what? I can't do this.
seems so wrong.
And he challenged me. I was uncomfortable the entire time, but I did it, and then we laughed about it after, and so all the teeth were gone. I was going to bring the mosaic parts here, and then they needed more space, so I gave up some tables so people could show a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then I used all the pieces from the bottom layer in Vader, so I repurposed them into something new, kind of fitting for that piece anyway, right? Vader's changing from Anakin to Darth and repurposing himself. So I was like, well, I might as well repurpose the pieces too.
I mean, you got to use them somewhere.
Yeah. Normally,
Yes.
I wrap them, and then
they sit.
they
Collect
are
dust.
They don't collect dust because they're wrapped. So
Oh,
when
no.
you unwrap them,
yeah,
they're
you're
still
right.
pretty
They're
clean.
pristine. So what is the allure of keeping them together?
I've sold some of them. So I've sold my Raptor. I've sold the Iron Man. I have someone interested in the girl over here, the hopeful girl.
Okay.
I would auction some of them off probably on Whatnot at this point, now that I'm on there a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's probably my ultimate goal is to show like in a gallery or something, like have my own show.
Really? Like
That's
in
why I
a-
haven't taken apart any of the
Okay.
Liechtensteins. because
You're waiting for that moment.
I hope that happens eventually, yeah.
I hope.
An
I hope
artist
for you.
dream.
An artist dream.
An artist dream.
Isn't that the way all artists are? They've got these crazy. I wouldn't say crazy. These crazy in a good way dreams, and I don't know. I hope it does because they're incredible. The world needs to see them. I think the world kind of has on social media.
Maybe.
A lot. It gets spread around a lot. Well, it's like you and I were chatting beforehand. Your name is synonymous with mosaics, and people know who you are before they come up and say something to you. And anytime there's a show and there's mosaics, people are looking around like, is Kate here? Does Kate have a piece in this? Am I going to win Best Mosaic? Am I not? So just like I had talked to some others earlier that, with mosaics and other things, how do you handle friendly competition? Because it's always there. And what they did this year was intelligent. They put the mosaics down the walls.
Yeah.
So they're all kind of grouped together. And there's some small ones here and there that are on tables, but down the center and stuff like that. But how do you handle friendly competition with next door neighbor right beside that may be coming for your title?
I welcome it. I think it's great because I feel that there should be more art and like more people pushing the envelope and exploring and doing what they like to do, experimenting with pieces and making them more textural and all the things. Like I look at it as a good thing to me. I think it's a good thing that people are starting to create more dynamic pieces, right? Not that there's anything wrong with stud pieces at all, because they can be beautiful in their own right, for sure. But I love that people are starting to use cheese slopes and different pieces to create their faces and landscapes and record covers and all the things that we're seeing in here,
Superheroes and stuff like that, all the kind of...
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, so...
As long as they feel inspired, then that's what matters,
Do you have any, like, something burning in your head right now? You're like, in a year or whatever, I really would like to potentially look at doing something like this. You don't have to give details, and if you don't want to give anything, you don't have to give anything. Because I know it's guarded secrets by a lot of people.
Like as in a new piece?
Yeah.
I already know what my new one is going to be. I'll tell you.
Okay.
So for my new piece, I think in September, so I run the Let's Build series on Instagram, like a building community. So September's theme is going to be mosaic again. And this time I want to actually paint like more of a self-portrait style Liechtenstein, and then from the painting I'm going to build the mosaic from my painting. So I'm going to paint first. It will be my own painting. So it'll be more of a personal passion piece, I guess. Yeah.
So then would you, and I don't know how this works, so let's say after you're done painting and then you have your mosaic, would you compare them side by side, like take them to the show?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's two different mediums right there. Just that's really neat. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before.
I know that piece I'm going to use for her hair too.
See, so you've already gotten to that point of planning way out. So, okay, that brings me a question that I was thinking about before. With the catalog constantly changing, the parts catalog constantly changing, new pieces coming in, other pieces being recolored. If there's not a certain piece and you're like, I really want it in this color, I really want to do it like this, and I don't have that, do you leave it on the back burner? Do you say, you know what, I'll concede and I'll use this color, or I'll just, or how does that work? Like in the head of somebody that's creating like a mosaic, especially.
I haven't put it on the back burner for that reason, in hopes that they'll make the color of the piece. I typically just choose a different piece, not a different color, just a different piece.
Okay.
Like I'll keep the color that I want, but I'll choose a different piece that works within the area of the mosaic that I want it to fall into.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I haven't run into that too much, though.
There's a big color palette these days.
Yeah.
With a lot of pieces under those palettes, and it's only growing. Mm-hmm. So do you, what am I trying to say here? Obviously, you want to have, like you said, like potentially an art gallery studio type thing one day. Where, I mean, if that were to happen, like, would you stop coming to shows? Would you?
Oh, no.
No?
I like the shows. I love the public. I love the kids. The kids' faces are the best.
They are.
They are the best. Or like, so at Cascade, there was one dad that came around the bend and was like, holy crap, you know? And the little kids were like, Dad, don't swear in front of the lady. And I was like, I'm here for it. It's fine. It's all good. But yeah, just seeing people's reactions to it and hearing hearing youth say, wow, I didn't even think about doing that with Lego. Like, that's like the best compliment ever to get. And then, or they'll say, I want to do something like that. Like, how did you do that? I want to do something like that with Lego.
Before we move on any further with this great interview with Kate, we have to stop and take a quick ad break. Back in a moment. So let's say that happens. A kid comes across to you and one of your mosaics, something that has greebling all over it or something like that, and say, how did you do that? How do you, like, let's say it's a, I don't know, elementary age student, because you've got younger kids yourself. Where do you go about breaking down to be able to get them to understand that?
I tell them to start small, typically. A lot of the time I'll carry like a whole tub of base plates with me sometimes, and I'll hand them one and give them one to take home with them. And I'll say, hey, just start small with this, see what you can come up with, choose a simple pattern. I usually suggest a pattern, so it's not like an actual depiction of something. I just say, play around with pieces, like use whatever you want. Don't think that you have to use any one type of piece.
Yeah, you don't want. I guess you don't want it stuck in your head like I have to use this.
Yeah.
Because then you're constrained by. I mean, you're putting mental constraints on yourself by the physical pieces that may or may not be available as well. That makes sense. All right, so I know what your tagline is because I've heard it 5 times from multiple different people today. I already know it. Words of advice, words of wisdom for people that are, whether it be mosaics or
anything.
mocks, anything.
Anything in life, really.
Yeah.
You should be doing what you love, creating what you love, living your best life, right? Because why would you be doing it otherwise, right? Build for you and what you love to do or what you love to build. Because if you start building for someone else, if you start building for something else, like to win an award or win a show or whatever it is, right? Commissions are different, obviously, a little bit. That's a little different. But if you're building for a show for something other than yourself, then it's not going to be what you want it to be. And people are going to see that in it. Because people are going to see your passion within your build, period. They're going to see that connection to it.
So with that in mind, which is great words of advice and wisdom and stuff like that, you brought up the word commission. And you had a commission, and I know people that follow you know this, but you had a major commission through a I guess they're under the Lego umbrella now. I don't know how they're owned. Anyway, so you did a commission for BrickLink for their headquarters it's in California somewhere.
In Irvine.
Yeah. I don't know where that's at. I know
Like
it's in
LA
California.
area.
Oh, okay. So how did that commission come to be, and B, and how did you end up going about building this? Okay, this piece. I'll let you take the floor here.
Okay. Last year at Bricks by the Bay, I met Russell and Tanya, who are two of the leads, I guess. I don't know how else better to describe that. And BrickLink, they're usually at all the shows. I've seen Russell today. I think I saw Tanya yesterday. They typically bring sets to auction off. They talk about what's going on for BrickLink at one of the breakout sessions. And he talked to me about mosaics, the mosaic maker. And that's kind of a funny story because he's like, well, how do you feel about the mosaic maker from BrickLink? And I was like, do you want my honest opinion? And he goes, absolutely. And I said, well, I think there's some kinks in it. Of course, I was my nice self, but definitely gave him some feedback. There are some kinks in it. So if you are using it and they know, like when you set the dimensions, it doesn't always do it exactly the way you want it to.
Yeah.
So you have to ebb and flow with it a little bit. And they're making it better as we go, so that's nice. And he said, we want to make mosaics a little bit bigger, and can we highlight your stuff on our page? And I said, of course. And nothing ever really came of it. I didn't really think that it would, right? You're just like, yeah, of course. Like when stuff like that happens. And then in September, I got a very random message on Instagram. It's like, I almost deleted it. So I'll own that right now.
Weirdo that is messaging me.
Because it was like his name, not necessarily BrickLink, right? So I almost deleted it, and I'm really glad that I didn't at this point. And he started talking about Russell and Tanya, and then I kind of made the connection, and he said, we want to commission you to build a mural for we're completely redesigning our headquarters. We want it to be right as you walk in. We want to model it after the Lego one in Billund. As you walk into the headquarters, it's going to be on this wall. We commissioned another artist to paint behind it. So there's this huge Lego mural behind it as well. And it's a 6 foot wide, 4 foot tall mural that got stuck right in the middle of the other painting. So it's kind of cool. And they let me pick. They said
all your stuff.
Yep. And they said you can choose whatever elements you want. Tell us what you need, but you have to keep to the colors in the logo. So.
And you're like, I
was like, done.
I went this.
I was pretty intentional. I thought about it for a long time. It took about a month or two to design it fully. It was the 90th anniversary of Lego at that point, and so I wanted to highlight the classic themes the most. So castle, pirate, and space. So if you look at the elements within the build, you'll see those three highlighted the most. Each letter is a different theme of Lego. So if you look closely, there's Disney and pirate and dots and CMF, even the CMF figures. Technic is involved, Star Wars, Harry Potter, City. I'm sure I'm forgetting one or two. Oh, botanical.
Of course, it has to be.
Yeah. So I was very intentional on the pieces that I chose. They all had to be in black, which was interesting too. That was kind of challenging actually to do.
I can only imagine.
Yeah. So, for instance, there is the botanical. I used the 3-leaf that only Sally, the CMF figure, holds from Nightmare Before Christmas. Mm-hmm. It's the only time the black was made. So
in that.
It was in that.
Wow.
So it's CMF, but
and
also
you're like, I need 10,000 of those.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's an open canvas, empty canvas, whatever, blank canvas.
Yeah.
And they're saying, hey, here you go. If that's what you need, that's what you need.
And I still hit elements in it, just as I normally do in my builds. So, so I chose the little ship in the bottle as one of the hidden elements. So there's two, one on each side, right in the center. And that is one of my favorite sets, which is by Jake Sadovich. I love the Ideas line. It's probably one of my favorite themes of Lego. And so that's one of the hidden pieces. The other is a Blacktron 1x2 brick with the printed, great. I don't know how you would describe that. Printed lines, vertical lines in yellow. It's like old school
I'm trying to
Blacktron
think.
piece for classic space.
Somebody will know. Somebody's screaming right now.
Yeah,
trying
they're
to
like,
say, it's this.
how do you not know this? And then one of the classics.
Oh, wait, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
They used to use them
With
as
the
like
lines.
grill pieces.
Yes,
like
the grill.
Old
Thank you.
town line.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And I originally wanted to do one of the letters all in that brick because I built them off the page like a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
And so I requested like 300 of them. And he's like, yeah, that's not going to happen. That was the only piece that he said no to.
There's only 30 in the entire country.
Yeah. He's like, you can have two. And I was like, perfect, I'll take it.
Done.
Yeah. But I used the old classic black castle windows for one of the letters.
Oh, wow.
That was one of my favorite ones.
So with some of these hidden pieces, do they know there's hidden?
Yeah, I told them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if this was one of those things like this is going to be a game and they're not going to know. But because that's the fun thing about coming to watch, like, especially obviously a BrickLink logo in their office is different than coming to a convention and somebody's got, a lightsaber hidden or a minifigure from, I don't know, Fabuland or something like that find it in this build. But that is pretty cool.
Ninjago dragon wings.
Of course. Why would it not be?
Ninjago girl right here, for sure. And there's a little black pirate parrot. It's only in one, I believe it's only in one classic pirate set.
Oh my God.
It's all black and it's hidden in the N, I believe.
So they were going down their inventory and saying, all right, we have these many people that are selling these pieces. Mm-hmm. We have to buy these. Mm-hmm. That's basically what happened.
They ordered a huge chunk of it from Billings.
Right.
Yeah.
But things like,
But
like you said, those
unique
grades.
things, the unique things, they definitely went to specific BrickLink sellers, which was kind of cool, right? They're combining the two together. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody that has a grate from that long ago is quite impressive. Mm-hmm. I probably have one or two laying around somewhere, but I don't know if I have them in black. So with that in mind, I appreciate you taking, weird, like 40 minutes without all the stoppage time for the Charlie Brown voice stuff going on. I know you had mentioned to the side of this that you were trying to attend Brick Slopes next year, which is Utah, right?
Yeah.
Utah. What is the next show that you're trying to get to?
Each year I try to do at least one I have never done before. This one right now, Chicago is my 10th convention that I've been to. I have not done BrickCan in Canada, so my hope is to do that one next April. I hear that Cascade got moved back to March, so we'll see. So most likely it would be March. I might go to BrickCon in Seattle just as an attendee. I don't think I'd show at it in the fall. And then the hope and the dream is always to go to Scareback eventually.
Scareback.
Eventually.
That's
or Australia. That would be cool
Australia.
too.
That is a hike.
That would be neat though.
That would be pretty cool. That's a whole different kind of world of design.
Yes.
Because
Agreed.
different cultures. It doesn't matter where you go. Scareback. Mm-hmm. Scareback is that's a completely different design idea there, but it's right outside Billund. It's a big deal.
And I appreciate their shows because there's no awards. People go to show because they want to and because they're passionate about what they made, and they all appreciate each other's builds, I think maybe a little bit more because of it, or they look at it in such a more dynamic way. There's no politics, no nothing.
That's what I was going to say. There's no politics. There's no hunting to try and be, I need that award. I need that award. They're just building to be and enjoy.
To create what they love.
Create what they love. See, so we're going to end on that. So Kate, BrickHuntress, you can find her on Instagram. That's pretty much it?
Yeah, for now. Yeah.
So BrickHuntress on Instagram. You've got your Let's Build series. You've got all kinds of stuff going on. There's a competition for Jurassic June.
Yep.
Make sure you are following her. And yeah. So Kate, thank you so much for spending time with me and chatting all the mosaic stuff that I know nothing about.
Absolutely. It's always easy to talk to you.
I told you it was going to be good. I know you believed me. Obviously, you believed me. I'm not a liar out here. But my God, such a great interview. And yeah, I enjoy talking to Kate all the time. And I love popping in when I can. I always forget when her stuff is because she's on the West Coast. And the thing with Instagram is sometimes I get weird notifications and sometimes I don't when people go live and stuff like that. And I try and catch as many as I can because there's so much. Like you could sit and listen and watch all that kind of stuff all the time. Anyway, so I am sad that all the Brickworld stuff is finished. I'm really sad. And this past weekend, Brick Fair Virginia was going on. And, you know, I wanted to go to that in the worst way. Just didn't fit the schedule this time around. And hopefully my plan is to potentially next year go to Brick Slopes. I would absolutely love to do that in 2024. I think is when I'm going to try and pull it. So it would be another year away because it's, I think it's somewhere in the end of September. We'll see what the dates look like because if one of the local shows here, when I say local, it's not Dallas, it's about an hour and 20 minutes away from here down in Killeen. They're not doing it this year. It's one of my favorite shows. They've only done it 2 years and it's great because the community is fantastic and they're seeing the kids because it is a military community. Because of the giant military base there. So you have all of these military families with all of these kids. It's so many kids. And seeing their eyes just pop out of their, out of their head, seeing the train displays from Texas Brick Railroad and all the other lugs and stuff like that. And then the individual mock builders and stuff. It's just really cool. It's a great opportunity. But I am hopefully going to be able to get out to the West Coast maybe this year, trying to pull something with Nebraska Brick Days as well. I believe it's in April again. So anyway, I am really looking forward to chatting with more of you. Hopefully be able to get to some international stuff here in the next few years. And the thing is, it's difficult to do. It is very expensive to fly across the ocean to Europe. So it's one of those things, like if I'm going to do it, I would like to go and hit here, and not do so much the touristy stuff. Be able to go to a show here, and spend a couple weeks versus going for, I don't know, a turnaround of a week. It doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. So I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed this series. I'm sad to see it go, like I said, but we'll have more stuff in the future and we'll be doing some digital interviews from a distance, however. So until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.